Welcome back, basketball fans. Today, we have a talk about what is rapidly becoming one of the most fascinating, layered, and explosive storylines of this entire NBA offseason. We are sitting here in July of 2026, and the landscape of the league has already been entirely turned upside down. The tectonic plates of the NBA are shifting in ways we could not have predicted even a few months ago. And right at the epicenter of this earthquake is a standoff involving two of the most polarizing, accomplished, and fiercely competitive future Hall of Famers in the history of the sport, LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. The breaking news sweeping across the league right now, originally reported by Stephen Bondi of the New York Post, is that the Miami Heat have emerged as a prime free agent destination for Russell Westbrook. But there's a massive, landscape-altering condition attached to this rumor. According to league sources, Russell Westbrook is a strong candidate to join the Miami Heat, but only if LeBron James does not sign with Miami. Let me repeat that, because the implications are absolutely staggering. Russell Westbrook essentially has a contingency plan in place to join the Heat, but the moment LeBron James takes his talents back to South Beach for a second time, Westbrook's camp will completely shut down negotiations with Pat Riley and the Miami front office. Russ is making a clear, definitive stance. He will not share a locker room with LeBron James again. He does not want the media circus. He does not want to relitigate the past. And he certainly does not want to take a back seat in a sequel to a partnership that famously crashed and burned in Los Angeles. To truly understand the gravity of this condition, we have to look at exactly where the Miami Heat currently stand in this 2026 offseason, because they are the main character in this entire drama. The Miami Heat front office has already pulled off the unthinkable. They just acquired Giannis Antetokounmpo. They have paired the Greek freak with Bam Adebayo, instantly creating one of the most terrifying, athletically dominant front courts the game of basketball has ever seen. The defensive potential alone is enough to give opposing coaches nightmares. But Pat Riley is never satisfied with just being great. He wants to be inevitable. And so, the Heat have set their sights on the ultimate prize of this free agency class. A reunion with LeBron James, over a decade after he won 2 championships in Miami. The NBA is waiting on the decision 2.0. LeBron has officially informed the Los Angeles Lakers that he is walking away. The Lakers, who have heavily invested their future in Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, are moving on, and now LeBron, at 41 years old, is the ultimate wild card. He is reportedly considering Miami, Golden State, Cleveland, and a Philadelphia 76ers team that just pulled off a blockbuster trade for Jaylen Brown. Every single domino in the NBA is currently suspended in midair, waiting for LeBron James to make his move. Teams have frozen their remaining offseason business. Free agents are waiting. General managers are pacing their offices. And right there, sitting near the top of the Miami Heat's contingency board, is Russell Westbrook. Westbrook is waiting to see what LeBron does, because Westbrook's own future is entirely dependent on LeBron's choice. If LeBron picks Miami, the Heat will allocate their roster spot, their minutes, and their remaining salary cap space to the NBA's all-time leading scorer. If LeBron decides to go to Philadelphia, Golden State, or back to Cleveland, the Heat will instantly pivot, and Russell Westbrook becomes a primary target to come in and run the point guard position for a team with absolute championship expectations. This is where the story goes from a standard free agency rumor to a deeply personal, legacy-defining situation. We need to do a deep dive into how we got here, what it means for the upcoming season, and why this specific line in the sand has been drawn by Russell Westbrook. Because to fully unpack this, we have to look back at the history between these two legends, the current state of Westbrook's career, the tactical fit on the basketball floor in Miami, and the psychological warfare of NBA free agency. Let us start by looking at Russell Westbrook's current value and state of mind in 2026. Westbrook is no longer the supermax player commanding franchise-altering trade packages. He is no longer the man who will single-handedly drag a roster to the playoffs while averaging a 30-point triple-double. He is 37 years old. However, anybody who thinks Russell Westbrook is washed up simply has not been paying attention to the basketball he has played over the last couple of years. He has spent the last few seasons proving to the entire league that he can accept, embrace, and thrive in a scaled-down role. We saw it when he went to Denver, and we saw it just last season with the Sacramento Kings. Last year, Playing for the Kings, Westbrook averaged a highly respectable 15.2 points, 6.7 assists, and 5.4 rebounds over 64 games. He brought intensity. He pushed the pace in transition, and he gave everything he had to the team system. He shot 42.7% from the field and nearly 34% from three-point range. He proved he can still be a highly effective, dynamic ball handler who can break down a defense and get downhill. And that is exactly what the Miami Heat desperately need right now. When you look at a roster featuring Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo, you're looking at a team that has a massive surplus of size, defensive versatility, and interior scoring. What they lack, particularly on the second unit or alongside those two juggernauts, is a pure, aggressive ball handler who can initiate the offense, create shot opportunities out of nothing, and push the tempo in transition. Miami currently has 3 open roster spots, and they are less than $11 million away from the first apron hard cap. They can offer a contract worth about $7 million. For that price, bringing in a former MVP who averaged over 15 points and nearly 7 assists just last year is an absolute steal. It is a perfect marriage of necessity and opportunity. The Heat get a relentless competitor who embodies the famed Heat culture, and Westbrook gets an opportunity to compete for a championship alongside Giannis and Bam. But then, we introduce a LeBron James factor, and the entire equation shatters. Why is Westbrook so adamant about avoiding LeBron? Why is this a hard, non-negotiable condition? To understand this, we have to reopen the wounds of the 2021 to 2022 Los Angeles Lakers season. It was supposed to be a Hollywood dream. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook uniting in Los Angeles to bring another banner to the Staples Center. Instead, it became one of the most heavily scrutinized, toxic, and disappointing experiments in modern NBA history. The Lakers went 33-49 that year. They missed the playoffs entirely, and the blame game that followed was relentless. Westbrook was forced into a role that completely neutralized his strengths. He was asked to stand in the corner, play off the ball, and space the floor, things he has never been comfortable doing. Meanwhile, the Lakers had gutted their championship-winning depth, trading away crucial role players to accommodate Westbrook's massive salary. The fit was a disaster, but the fallout was even worse. Reports surfaced that the rift between LeBron and Westbrook began almost immediately. The relationship deteriorated rapidly as the losses piled up. And then came the summer of 2023, when the Lakers were desperately trying to trade Westbrook away, aggressively shopping him in packages aimed at acquiring Kyrie Irving from the Brooklyn Nets. LeBron James publicly admitted his frustration when the Lakers failed to land Irving for Russell Westbrook, a fiercely proud competitor, a former MVP, and a player who gives his heart to the game. Being openly shopped and subtly undermined took a massive toll. The lack of respect, whether perceived or actual, fundamentally fractured whatever relationship they had. So when we hear that Russell Westbrook will only sign with Miami if LeBron does not, it is not just a strategic basketball decision. It is a deeply personal one. Russ doesn't want to take sides in whatever drama surrounds LeBron's departure from the Lakers. He doesn't want to be relegated to a backup role, where he is constantly looking over his shoulder, waiting to be scapegoated if the team goes on a 3-game losing streak. By avoiding LeBron, Westbrook is making the best spacing decision of his career. Not just spacing on a basketball court, but mental and emotional spacing. He is protecting his peace, his reputation, and his ability to enjoy the final chapters of his Hall of Fame career. Now, let us look at the situation from the perspective of the Miami Heat front office, because Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra are in a fascinating predicament. On one hand, you have LeBron James. Even at 41, turning 42 in December, he is a basketball anomaly. He defies logic, time, and biology. Adding LeBron James to a team with Giannis Antetokounmpo sounds like a video game cheat code. The basketball IQ, the playmaking, the sheer intimidation factor of a LeBron-Giannis pick and roll would break defensive coverages in half. But from a purely analytical standpoint, there are major spacing concerns. Giannis struggles to shoot from the perimeter. Bam Adebayo is an interior and mid-range player. If you add LeBron, who has become a better shooter with age but still thrives on driving to the basket, the paint is going to be incredibly clogged. And if LeBron goes elsewhere and the Heat sign Westbrook instead, the spacing issue actually becomes significantly worse. Russell Westbrook is a career 30.8% shooter from three-point range. A lineup featuring Westbrook, Jimmy Butler. If he's still in the mix, Giannis. And Bam would have virtually zero reliable outside shooting. Opposing defenses would simply pack the paint, build a wall, and dare the Heat to beat them from the perimeter. It would be a stylistic throwback to 1990s basketball. However, in transition, that combination would be a track meet. Westbrook grabbing a rebound and pushing the pace with Giannis running the floor is a terrifying prospect for any defense trying to get back in time. The Heat's front office knows all of this. They know the risks, but they're operating in a market where the available talent pool is drying up fast. Players like Gary Trent just signed for $15 million a year. The Heat only have about $7 million to offer. Veterans like DeMar DeRozan and Bradley Beal command significantly more money than Miami can provide under the hard cap. This is why Westbrook is such a crucial contingency plan. He is arguably the best ball-handling option left on the open market, willing to take a veteran minimum or a taxpayer mid-level exception. But Miami cannot officially offer him the role, the money, or the spot until LeBron makes up his mind. This holding pattern is the true drama of this offseason. LeBron James, as he has done so many times in his career, is holding the entire league hostage. His agent, Rich Paul, has made it clear that they are taking the process very seriously, and that LeBron has earned the right to decide on his own timeline. And he has. When you have accomplished what LeBron has, you get to dictate the terms. But the cost of this approach is that the fallback options for these contending teams are aging on the shelf. Veterans like Russell Westbrook will not stay and sign forever. Other teams are reportedly monitoring Westbrook's situation closely. If LeBron takes too long, Miami might lose out on their primary target and their best backup plan all at once. And consider the broader ripple effects across the league. Let's say LeBron James decides to sign with the Golden State Warriors. He joins Steph Curry and Draymond Green for one final, glorious ride into sunset. That instantly makes Golden State a massive threat in the Western Conference. But it also immediately triggers Russell Westbrook's flight to Miami. Westbrook signs with the Heat, takes the reins of the second unit, and suddenly Miami has the depth and the relentless energy needed to push through a grueling Eastern Conference playoff bracket. But what if LeBron chooses Miami? What if he decides that playing with Giannis is the best path to securing a fifth championship ring? In that exact moment, the Russell Westbrook conversation dissolves on contact. Westbrook would have to look elsewhere. Does he go back to the Kings? Does he look for a spot on a young, rebuilding team that needs a veteran mentor? Or does he look at a landscape, realize the musical chairs have stopped, and find himself without a seat that meets his competitive desires? There is an underlying irony to this entire situation that cannot be ignored. Back in 2019, when Westbrook was leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder, Miami was widely reported as his preferred destination. The Heat wanted him, and he wanted the Heat, but the Thunder ultimately traded him to Houston for Chris Paul. For years later, in 2023, the Heat did extensive background work on Westbrook ahead of his buyout from the Utah Jazz, but they ultimately passed, and he went to the Clippers. Now, in 2026, the two sides are flirting once again. It is a pairing that has danced around each other for 7 years. They are perfect for each other in terms of attitude, work ethic, and competitive fire. But standing in the doorway, blocking the union from happening, is the massive, looming shadow of LeBron James. As we analyze this, we have to respect Russell Westbrook's boundary. In a league where players are often pressured to swallow their pride, chase rings at the expense of their happiness, and conform to the demands of superstars, Westbrook is saying no. He is setting a boundary. He knows his worth. He knows what environment he needs to be successful, and he knows that a reunion with LeBron James in Miami would be detrimental to his mental game and his on-court production. He refuses to be the scapegoat again. He refuses to stand in the corner. He wants to play his game on his terms, even if it means waiting in the wings or walking away from a championship contender. This is what makes the NBA the greatest soap opera on television. It is not just about the X's and O's, the salary cap permutations, or the advanced analytics. It is about human relationships. It is about ego, pride, history, and the incredibly fragile dynamics of a locker room. The Los Angeles Lakers thought they could just throw three massive stars together and figure out on the fly. It failed spectacularly, and the shockwaves of that failure are still dictating major free agency decisions 5 years later. As we look toward the resolution of this standoff, the pressure is entirely on the Miami Heat front office. Pat Riley is a master negotiator, a visionary who has built multiple championship iterations in South Florida. But right now, he is playing a high-stakes game of poker, waiting for the greatest player of his generation to show his cards. If Riley lands LeBron, it is a monumental victory, regardless of the fit. You figure out the spacing later. You just get the talent in the building. But if Riley misses out on LeBron, he has to immediately transition to damage control, secure Russell Westbrook, and convince the fan base that the contingency plan was actually the better fit all along. The coming days are going to shape the 2026 to 2027 NBA season in profound ways. Will we see LeBron James donning the black and red of the Miami Heat once again, chasing one final ghost of his past? Or will we finally see Russell Westbrook bring his ferocious, unyielding energy to South Beach, orchestrating an offense built around the Greek freak? One thing is absolutely certain. They will not be doing it together. The line has been drawn. The condition is set. Now, we just wait for the dominoes to fall. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the most chaotic and fascinating free agency drama of the year. This situation is evolving by the minute, and the moment LeBron James makes his decision, the entire landscape of the league will change instantly. We will be right here to break down the fit, the contract, and the immediate fallout for whatever team secures his signature, and of course, where Russell Westbrook ultimately lands in the aftermath. If you want to stay ahead of all the breaking news, deep tactical analysis, and the raw, unfiltered truth behind the biggest stories in the NBA, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are going to be tracking the Miami Heat, the Lakers rebuild around Luka and Reeves, the Philadelphia 76ers' massive gamble on Paul George and Jaylen Brown, and every other major move in this historic 2026 offseason. Drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Who is making the better decision here? Is LeBron making a mistake by holding up the market? Is Westbrook justified in refusing to play with LeBron again? And objectively speaking, which player actually makes the Miami Heat a better basketball team alongside Giannis and Bam? I want to hear your take, so light up the comment section. Until next time, keep your eyes on the timeline because the next WOJ or Shams bomb is going to change everything. Stay locked in, and I will see you in the next one.